What is up? It's a Figure Hunter, and up for consideration review is the heart rate accuracy of the new Polar Pacer Pro. So this watch came out exactly 1 week ago. I got it a couple days early, and so I've taken it through 8 rigorous workouts, and we're going to talk about the results, and I'm super fired up to share it with you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing for more. I've got a lot of content yet to come out. I'm going to do a non-review review for the Lumen. At some point, I'm doing the Hard 75 and 3.5 weeks in. I might talk about that. I might get the Tactic 7, and hopefully I really expect Garmin to release the 955 and the 255 at some point in the next few weeks. Now, I have no information from Garmin, zero, but my good friends at the 5K Runner, they basically are the sweet spot for rumor mill stuff. So they do all the reviews. They're great for that, but they're also fantastic at just the flow of information from out in the dark web. I don't know, but they're great at rumors. So if you haven't checked them out, check the description below for a link to their page, because they have gotten some good information about the potential for the 955, 255 possibly coming out. So anyway, with that, let's talk about the Pacer Pro heart rate accuracy for doing CrossFit and high intensity interval workouts. A lot of reviewers do it in running or in cycling, and they look at that. That's like, you know, running level of rigor on a optical heart rate sensor, cycling, even, you know, mountain biking, and then there's CrossFit. So CrossFit high intensity interval training has all sorts of wrist flexion. It's all across. You're actually active, quick, moving, and a lot of wrist flex. So it's the biggest test for optical heart rate accuracy. And this is different than any other Polar watch I've tested. And the results haven't been great with the other Polar watch tests, and we're going to even look at all that. Even at the end of this video, we're going to look at all the accuracy of almost all the optical heart rate sensors that are on the market today, so that's pretty awesome. So tonight we're going to do 4 simple things. We're going to do a hands-on of the overall design differences, look at some comparisons to other watch models from Polar. Secondly, I'm just going to do a quick video overview of how I do the testing on the analytical side once I've extracted the data. Third, we're going to look at the actual charts. One, heart rate, the heart rate Polar, the Pacer Pro versus and against the chest strap. And then last, we're going to talk about the analytical results, and we're going to show the comparisons of all the other devices out on the market, and then we'll talk about the summary. So with that, let's dive into the hands-on. All right, so here you have the optical heart rate sensor, and you can see it's blinking actually orange and red with a green in the middle, but they've removed the thick part, so you can see it compared to, this is the Polar Grit X Pro. Of course, for the video, it's probably not going to fire, and that is just my luck. But you can see they removed this ridge, so it's considerably thinner, and we're seeing some accuracy differences. So I believe, there it is, it looks the exact same. So this is using the same colored diodes. And then if you use the Vantage V2, which is on a different set of diode colors, there it is. It's the same colors as the Grit X Pro. So that is what you have there. And then you have, I think it was green and red on the Ignite 2, which is what this is, but that's dead as a doornail, and the Vantage M2. So you have the same color format, oh God, as the Vantage V2 on the Pacer Pro. So same quality there, same quality as the Grit X Pro, but different results. Let's take a look. And there you have it. Actually, totally, it's not even that, doesn't look any different. So let's take a look at the results. So let's do a quick video of how I do the analysis side of the results. Then we'll look at the charts, then we'll look at the results, and then we'll be off to the races. All right, here you have it, the simple steps. Export the data. You can pull this out from, I use Garmin for the chest strap and Polar website, I was Polar Flow for extracting the data. DC Analyzer from DC Rainmaker is awesome. You dump it into the DC Analyzer, and then from that actual compilation, Ray has actually made it possible for you to export an Excel spreadsheet. I basically take the Excel spreadsheet and I create my own chart of how one heart rate of one device over another looks on a chart, and then I run an analysis for the accuracy on the top 50% of the heart rate itself. And here's sort of how I run the accuracy and why I do it the way I do it. So here's a short video.
All right, so here you have typical chest, heart rate. The red is the chest strap, the other is the device. So if you were to measure to just this point here and just take this distance and then were to just do a straight line measurement of the entire heart rate, and then you were to measure it here, from this point all the way down, the corresponding rate, you would say, this looks like it's 20% off. This looks like it's overall 80% accurate. But I don't want to take that approach. I want to be more stringent, especially when it comes to the higher heart rate zones. So what I want to do is, instead of going from here to here, I'm going to cut basically half of the distance off. And so we're going to measure with the corresponding heart rate here. So this is, measurement 1, this is measurement 2. And if you were to look at the offage here and, what is this accuracy, you would say, just ballpark, it looks like it's 55% accurate. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to cut out the bottom of the distance between the actually 0 and the chest strap itself, and we're going to take that average across the entire workout to get our percentage of accuracy, because specifically it's the percentage of accuracy above 50%.
All right, so once we've seen that, let's dive into the results, the chart. All right, so workout 1, you can see it is really doing pretty well. Obviously on the lifting portion, the front end, not as great. On the first intense, this is like an intense Metcon, and then take a time off, and then another one. It still followed the flow, not exactly in the lifting portion, but boy, it really nailed the top part of the second half. Here's another workout with short spurt intervals, and it got the first 2 right, and this is really incredibly good for a optical heart rate sensor, and then missed the second half of the last one. So then you can see in the latter half, just doing some extra work, it kept up really well. Here, workout number 3, you can see it missed some of the peaks. So it did get a lot of the lifting portions relatively accurately for an optical heart rate sensor, but it obviously missed some of the peaks in the interval training on the back half. Here, really, really good. So it missed portion of the lifting session in the front end, but hit the hills in the last part of the workout. Here, fantastic, or this to me is fantastic for an optical heart rate sensor. Again, you can see like this, it is really following the flow of the workout, and a lot of optical heart rate sensors can't keep up with significant dynamic changes in heart rate. So this is doing a great job for an optical heart rate sensor. Here, okay, well, this was like super heavy back squats in the front end, and it missed a couple of those, quick changes for whatever reason. Not quite sure why. Actually, this might have been the workout with clean and jerk, so that might be part of the problem. Here, another workout with more intense lifting in the front end, and then the middle part of the workout on the back half with the Metcon itself was a lot of burpees, 100 burpees across a bunch of other different variables. So you can see the results there. And then for whatever reason on this last workout, it really just didn't keep up with the work on the second half. And maybe it was the types of things that we're doing. It was basically dumbbell chest, bench press with a dumbbell, followed by toes to bar, followed by double unders. So it would catch, it just not great. So when you look at all these, you see, nope, that's not what I want to do. You sort of see it's following the pattern. It's getting the peaks and the highs. It's getting, in general, good information or good flow of the workout, but it's missing obviously bigger portions. And that's why I cut the bottom half out. So I don't want it, I want it to expose inaccuracy. So when you have, like you have here, you're going up to 180 beats a minute. If you were to take just the top line and the bottom line, the accuracy would maybe look closer. But here, if you run the difference between that from like 160 down to 90, it's going to come out with a bigger F rating. And so that's what I want to do. And so that's what's going to go into this analysis. And so I want to caveat that. And let's back up for a second and talk about other devices that Polar has released in the accuracy. You have the Polar Vantage V2. Now this was a different testing model. I didn't run all these higher level analytics, but I did test with more strenuous nature how much of the zone 5, the 90 to 100% of max heart rate, and how much of zone 4 and 5 it got right versus just like tracking some average heart rate, which is not a good way to test these types of things. Polar Vantage M2 and the Instinct, no, that's not it, not Instinct 2, the Ignite 2. So 72, that's fair, that's okay, but it's still missing 28% of the data, so that's a lot of missed pieces. Here's some of the worst performers. This is just all devices across all time. Whoop 3.0, terrible. All the way down to the Fossil Gen 5, you can see the Coros Pace 2, terrible. Coros Vertex 2, terrible. Suunto 7, terrible. Huawei GT2, terrible. These are all terrible. And then you have sort of the middle grades, you know, the 50s and 60s, Samsung Galaxy Watch 3. If you actually wore the Whoop 4.0 on your wrist, I was getting 60% accuracy. If you own a Whoop 4.0, don't wear it on your wrist. Your 40% of your strain is wrong because you're just only getting 60% capture rate. There's the Polar Vantage V2. And then we got some medium players, you know, in the 70s, GTR3, Whoop 3.0, TicWatch. I don't have the Huawei GT3 on here, and I need to run some more final accuracy calculations there. And then we have some other players. You know, the Whoop 3.0 on the bicep was more accurate. If you wear the 4.0 on your bicep, it's like near accurate. So that you can see that the 3.0 on the bicep still missing 20%. That's a fail. But you have some really good other armbands. These are not optical heart rate sensors for the wrist, at least. And then you have the top players. And you have the top player, the top dog, Apple Watch 6, 7, whatever, 50% factor. They're all getting the same accuracy. And the Garmin Elevate 4.0 getting 85% accuracy. So this was the second set of tests I ran. It was using the Epix, which is a little heavier, but whatever. It brought the score down from like 93% when I first tested it on the Venue to 2S, which is the tiny version. So obviously it has less room to move around. So let's look at some answers. Here's the results across the different tests using a factor of 50%, cutting out the bottom half of the heart rate and testing the accuracy of the device versus a chest strap. You see lots of high 80s, lots of like, you know, 90s, resulting in, drum roll, 87.75% accuracy. That is really good. And what does that do? It makes it the second most accurate optical heart rate sensor on the market today for doing the most rigorous types of workouts, specifically CrossFit and high intensity interval training. So let's talk.
What do I see? What do you see? What do you see? Second most accurate optical heart rate sensor when doing the rigors and challenges of a CrossFit workout or high intensity interval workout. Second best on the market today, ahead of the Garmin Elevate 4.0, and I did the full testing, so I had to go revamp all my calculations to make sure it's all 50% or above on the Apple Watch, on the Garmin. Obviously, the Apple Watch is the number one, and it really isn't really touchable. I will say a caveat here that the Huawei GT3 is showing some significant promise, but I haven't retested it since they updated their algorithms, but I am pretty convinced it is going to be in the top tier of accuracy, but just lacks some of the efficiency in some other areas. So with that, Pacer Pro, the Polar Pacer Pro, when you see this, the optical heart rate sensor, it is not the same as it was before, and it is pretty awesome. So this is actually a great solution for CrossFit if you absolutely hate a chest strap and armband. But as always, if you're missing the top 10% of accuracy, you're missing out on quality data that can determine how much load you're putting, how much recovery you need, all of those types of things. So with that, oh, and I will say that this optical heart rate sensor is going to be fine for any day-to-day stuff. It's only the workouts that are going to find the inaccuracy. So with that, it's Fit Gear Hunter. Thanks so much for watching.